All right, so welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive.
Always fun.
Today we're looking at entrepreneurship through this book, Midas Touch, by Donald Trump and Robert Kiyosaki.
Okay.
Have you had a chance to look at this one yet?
I have, yeah. It's a really interesting look at what they say makes entrepreneurs successful and what it takes to succeed in business.
Yeah, and I think what's really interesting is that it's not just like a theoretical book. It's really drawing on their own experiences.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, they share a lot of anecdotes from their own careers, both the successes and the failures, which makes it very relatable.
And I think that's what I really like about it is that it gets right to the point.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the first things they do is compare entrepreneurs with people who are in like traditional careers.
Yeah.
And they make this really bold statement that only entrepreneurs can create real jobs.
Right, and their reasoning is that entrepreneurs are the ones who can see the future. They can kind of envision what's coming next.
Yeah.
And then they build the businesses that make that future a reality.
So it's not just about reacting to what's happening now.
It's about shaping what's to come.
Yeah, and I think that's so powerful. Because it's like if you can see where things are headed, you can build the businesses that will thrive in that future.
Exactly. And Midas Touch suggests that this kind of forward thinking is becoming even more crucial as we move into this information age economy.
And they even suggest that some of these big Fortune 500 companies, the ones that kind of came out of the industrial age, might have trouble adapting to this new world.
Yeah, they might struggle to keep up because the rules of the game are changing so rapidly.
So it's not just about being an entrepreneur. It's about having a very specific entrepreneurial mindset.
Exactly, one that's adaptable and can navigate the complexities of a globalized, technology-driven world.
Now, speaking of adapting to the times,
Yeah.
there's this great story in the book about Robert Kiyosaki's experience promoting his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, on Oprah.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic.
He talks about how he estimated Oprah sold 1 million copies of his book in that 1 hour.
Talk about a Midas Touch moment, right?
It's incredible, and I think what's even more remarkable is that he initially faced a lot of rejection from publishers.
That's right. Rich Dad, Poor Dad was actually self-published at first.
So even someone like Kiyosaki, who's now this huge best-selling author, had to overcome these obstacles and really believe in his vision, even when other people didn't.
That's a powerful reminder for all of us that sometimes the gatekeepers don't recognize a winning idea when they see it.
Yeah, you can't always rely on other people to validate your ideas.
Sometimes you have to trust your gut and be willing to go it alone.
And that brings us to another key point that they make in the book, which is the importance of embracing mistakes.
Right.
They actually argue that mistakes are inevitable and they can be really valuable.
They even talk about turning bad luck into good luck.
Yeah, how do you even do that?
It's about having a growth mindset. You know, seeing setbacks not as failures, but as opportunities to learn, adapt, and come back even stronger.
So it's not about avoiding mistakes altogether.
No, it's about using them to your advantage.
And they have this really great example of this with Trump when he was redesigning a building in Chicago.
Oh, yeah. What happened there?
He initially had to change the design because of this like sudden spike in steel prices.
Oh, wow. That sounds like a major setback.
It was. But instead of seeing it as this like total failure, he actually used it as an opportunity to come up with a more cost-effective and efficient design.
So he turned a potential disaster into a win.
Yeah, and the book really emphasizes that this ability to adapt and find opportunity amidst these challenges is crucial for entrepreneurs.
Yeah, you have to have the mental and emotional strength to ride the waves.
Yeah.
You know, the ups and downs of business are inevitable.
Yeah, you can't control everything.
Right, yeah.
You can control how you react to it.
And they make a pretty bold statement. They say that those who can't admit to their mistakes or learn from them can actually become liabilities in business.
So it's not just about competence, it's also about character. Exactly.
You need both to succeed. You need the skills, but you also need the self-awareness and the integrity to navigate the complexities of business.
Now, this idea of seizing opportunities where other people only see obstacles.
Yeah.
That's perfectly illustrated in the story of Trump and the Woolman skating rink in Central Park.
Oh, yes. That's a classic Trump tale.
So for those who aren't familiar with this story, the city had spent years and millions of dollars trying to fix this ice skating rink with no success.
Right. It was a total mess.
And Trump comes in, offers to complete the project at no cost to the city.
And the mayor initially dismissed his offer.
What?
Oh, yeah. He even published their correspondence in the newspaper to try to make Trump look foolish.
Wow. So it became this big public spectacle.
Oh, absolutely. The media had a field day with it.
But ultimately, public opinion and all that media attention kind of swayed the mayor.
Yeah, he had to cave.
And Trump ends up finishing the rank.
Ahead of schedule and under budget.
Clap.
It's a perfect example of how entrepreneurs see potential, where other people just see problems.
And I think that's so important because it's about looking at things from a different perspective.
Absolutely.
Seeing the possibilities instead of just getting bogged down in the obstacles.
Yeah, and having the confidence to take action, even when other people doubt you.
Now, speaking of seeing things differently,
Yeah.
the book then shifts gears a little bit and starts talking about the importance of focus.
Right.
And they use this really powerful metaphor of the index finger.
Yeah, it's such a simple but effective image.
Like you're pointing your finger
Yeah.
at your goal and nothing else matters.
Exactly. They use this great anecdote about Trump hosting Saturday Night Live to illustrate the power of focus.
I love that story.
It's intense. You can just feel the energy and pressure of being live on air.
And he talks about those last-minute script changes
Yeah.
and the need to stay on top of everything while still being funny and engaging.
It's a masterclass in focus and performance under pressure.
Yeah, so it's not just about concentrating on one thing. It's about having the discipline and the stamina
Yeah.
to stay focused even when things get really crazy around you.
You have to be able to prioritize,
Yeah.
manage your time effectively, and just block out all the distractions.
Now, this leads us to one of Robert Kiyosaki's, really signature concepts, which is the cash flow quadrant.
Ah, yes. The cash flow quadrant, a classic
Yeah.
framework for understanding different financial mindsets.
So for those who haven't encountered the cash flow quadrant before,
Yeah.
can you give us a quick overview?
Okay, so the quadrant's divided into 4 sections. Employee, self-employed, or specialist business owner, and investor. Each quadrant represents a different way of earning income and building wealth.
So it's not just about how much money you make.
Right. It's about where that money comes from and how you're generating it.
And what I find really interesting is that they emphasize there's no right or wrong quadrant to be in,
Exactly. It's about understanding the advantages and disadvantages of each.
because each one comes with its own set of challenges and opportunities.
For example, someone in the employee quadrant might have a steady paycheck, but they have limited control over their income.
Right. And someone who's self-employed or a specialist might have more control, but they're often trading hours for dollars.
Yeah, they're working in their business, not on their business.
And that's where the B&I quadrants come in.
Right.
Midas Touch argues that the key to financial freedom is shifting your focus from working for money
Yeah.
to building or acquiring assets that generate income.
So instead of trading your time for money, you're creating systems and investments that work for you even while you sleep.
It's like that classic saying, make your money work for you.
Exactly. And they use the example of a restaurant owner who's always on the grill, always working in the business,
Right.
versus someone who builds a system, hires people, steps away from the day-to-day operations.
So the business runs without them.
Exactly. That's moving towards the B quadrant.
Mhm.
And then as you build wealth in the B quadrant, you can start investing in the I quadrant.
Further increasing your passive income.
Yeah, it's a journey of progression from trading time for money to creating assets that generate income for you.
Now, the book also talks about branding.
Yeah.
And they use this really interesting story from Kiyosaki's early days as an entrepreneur.
Oh, yeah, the Ripper's story.
Tell me about that.
Okay, so Kiyosaki started a surfer wallet company.
Okay.
And while the product itself was successful,
Yeah.
it never really took off as a brand.
So it was just a product, not a recognizable brand.
Exactly. But then he had this brilliant idea. He secured licensing deals with major rock bands like Pink Floyd, The Police, Duran Duran.
That's awesome.
Suddenly, his wallets weren't just wallets. They were associated with these iconic global brands.
So he leveraged the power of those established brands to boost his own product.
Exactly. And that's when he really learned the power of branding.
And that's something that Trump understands as well.
Oh, yeah.
Think about his personal brand.
He's a master of personal branding.
He's used books, media appearances, even a reality TV show to create this image of himself.
As a successful businessman, a deal maker, a larger-than-life personality.
So it's not just about the product or service you're offering.
Right.
It's also about the story you're telling.
The image you're projecting, the emotions you're evoking.
Yeah. And the trust that you're building with your audience.
Exactly. It's about creating a brand that resonates with people on an emotional level.
Now, this leads us to another interesting concept in the book, which is the importance of paying attention to the little things that count. What do they mean by that?
Well, it's not about getting lost in the minutia.
Right.
It's about recognizing that those seemingly small details can make a big difference in how your business is perceived.
So you're saying it's about threading the small stuff, but in a good way.
Exactly. Think about it. Every interaction a customer has with your business contributes to their overall impression.
Yeah, so it's like how you answer the phone,
Yeah.
the cleanliness of your store, the speed of your shipping,
All those little things add up.
and they can really make or break your business.
And they give some great examples of companies that have leveraged little things into major advantages.
Like Domino's Pizza and their 30 minutes or less guarantee.
Yeah, that completely changed the game.
It created this sense of urgency and reliability.
And value.
And then there's Walmart with their always low prices.
Right, that became the foundation of their entire business strategy.
Or FedEx with their guarantee of overnight shipping.
Yeah, that revolutionized the way businesses operate.
And even McDonald's with their focus on happy kids and giving parents a break.
That simple formula turned into a global phenomenon.
So it's not just about having a great product or service.
It's about those little extras that show you care
Yeah, those little details that show you're paying attention.
and that you're committed to providing a positive customer experience.
Now, one of the things that I think is so important that they talk about is the importance of relationships,
Absolutely.
especially when it comes to entrepreneurial success.
Yeah, both Trump and Kiyosaki really emphasize this. They stress the importance of finding the right partners, building a strong team, and nurturing those relationships over time.
And Kiyosaki has this great line. He says, "You can't do a good deal with a bad partner."
So true. The people you surround yourself with can make or break your business.
He also suggests that good partners often emerge from bad deals.
Yeah, it sounds counterintuitive.
It does.
But his point is that those difficult experiences can reveal a lot about a person's character.
So it's like when you go through those tough times together
Yeah.
and you see who's really there for you.
Right, who's willing to work through the challenges and find solutions.
Those are the partners worth keeping.
Absolutely. It's about building trust and loyalty through shared experiences.
And Kiyosaki makes this other interesting point. He says, good people don't always make good partners.
Right, because someone might be a wonderful person,
Yeah.
but they might not have the right skills or experience or mindset to be a successful business partner.
So it's not just about being a good person. It's about compatibility, shared vision, and a complementary skill set.
Absolutely.
And Trump echoes this sentiment. He talks about how building long-term relationships with employees, contractors, business partners has been so key to his own success.
It's about building a network of trust, mutual respect, and shared goals.
So it's not just about transactions. It's
Right.
about building genuine, lasting relationships.
Yeah. And those relationships can be incredibly valuable, not just for your business, but for your own personal and professional growth.
Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to touch on one final point
Okay.
that I think is really important, and that's the importance of giving back and making a positive impact on the world.
Absolutely.
And this is something that runs throughout Midas Touch. Both Trump and Kiyosaki really emphasize this idea of using your entrepreneurial talents to create value for others.
Yeah, it's about more than just making money.
It's about making a difference.
Kiyosaki even argues that the very rich are not greedy. He suggests that true wealth often stems from a desire to create positive change.
So it's not about accumulating wealth for its own sake.
Right.
It's about using that wealth to empower others.
Yeah, to create opportunities to make a positive impact on the world.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive into Midas Touch. We've talked about the entrepreneurial mindset, embracing mistakes, the power of focus, the cash flow quadrant, the importance of branding, sweating the small stuff, building those strong relationships, and this idea of giving back. Whew, that's a lot.
It's a great foundation for thinking about the entrepreneurial journey.
And as you continue to think about all of this, we want to leave you with this question to ponder.
Okay.
If you were to start a business today, what would be your little thing that counts?
What unique gift or talent could you offer to the world?
Think about that, and we'll pick up the conversation in part 2.
It's an interesting question, right? Because it forces you to think about what makes you unique. What's your special sauce?
Totally. And it reminds me of something else that Midas Touch talks about, which is this concept of the 8 integrities of business.
Oh, yeah. Those are like the essential building blocks of a successful business.
So what are those 8 integrities?
Well, the first one is legal, making sure you're operating within the law, protecting your assets.
So dotting your I's and crossing your T's.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then there's production, actually creating and delivering your product or service.
That's where the rubber meets the road, right?
Absolutely.
Yep.
And then there's product development, constantly innovating and improving your offerings.
So staying ahead of the curve.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then you've got sales, generating revenue, and building that customer base.
Closing those deals.
Right. And then marketing, crafting the story around your brand and reaching your target audience.
Making sure people know about you.
Yeah. And then there's accounting, keeping your financial house in order.
Can't forget about that.
Nope. Then there's team building, a high-performing team of talented individuals.
Surrounding yourself with the right people.
Yes. And finally, leadership, setting the vision, inspiring your team, guiding the business through challenges.
So it's like having all the pieces of the puzzle.
Right. All working together in harmony.
Now, they emphasize that entrepreneurs often have natural strengths in one or two of these areas.
Yeah.
But the really successful ones, they master all 8.
It's a tall order.
It is. That's why they recommend building a team of advisors and partners.
People who can complement your strengths.
So you're not trying to do everything yourself.
Exactly. You leverage the expertise of others.
Now, in addition to those 8 integrities, they also introduce this concept of the BI triangle.
Oh, yeah. That represents the core elements of a successful business.
Which are?
Mission, team, and leadership.
Okay, so break that down for me.
Well, mission is the foundation. It's your why, your purpose.
The reason you get out of bed in the morning.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Then team, those are the people who bring your mission to life.
Your ride or die.
And then leadership, guiding, inspiring, and keeping everyone focused on that mission.
So it's about aligning those 3 elements.
Mission, team, leadership, working together to achieve success.
And they point out that a lot of entrepreneurs stumble because they might have a great mission, but struggle to build a team, or they have a strong team but lack the leadership skills.
It's about finding that balance, that synergy between those 3 elements.
Now, another thing they talk about is personal branding.
Yes. This is where Trump's expertise really shines.
He talks about leveraging media appearances, writing books, even his reality TV show.
To build his brand and amplify his businesses.
So it's about crafting a narrative that sets you apart.
And being authentic, staying true to your values.
Now, Kiyosaki brings in his expertise as a financial educator.
Right.
And he talks about financial intelligence.
This is so crucial for entrepreneurs.
Because traditional education often doesn't prepare us for this.
Exactly. Kiyosaki stresses the importance of understanding financial statements, managing cash flow, making smart investments.
So it's about thinking strategically about money.
And he even goes so far as to say that understanding tax laws is crucial.
Because they can work in your favor.
If you know how to use them legally and ethically.
Now, they also delve into something that I find really fascinating, which is the idea of understanding different personality types.
Yes. They introduce the concept of archetypes.
Okay, so these are like recurring patterns of thought and behavior.
Right. And they can influence how people approach work relationships, decision-making.
And they use these examples like the ruler, the outlaw, the caregiver, the jester.
To illustrate these different archetypes.
So it's like a way of decoding human behavior.
Right. And it can be really valuable for building teams, negotiating deals, just navigating the business world.
Now, they also emphasize the importance of lifelong learning.
Yes. Always be growing. Always be learning.
So it's about having that growth mindset.
And being willing to step outside your comfort zone.
To expand your horizons.
They recommend attending seminars, reading books, networking with other entrepreneurs, taking on new challenges.
So never stop learning. Never stop growing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The world is changing so rapidly, you have to keep evolving.
Now, they also talk about sales, which is something a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with.
Yeah, it can be intimidating, especially if you're more introverted.
But they emphasize that it's an essential skill.
Absolutely. Whether you're selling a product or service, or even just your ideas.
So it's about communicating the value of what you offer.
And persuading people to invest in your vision.
They talk about understanding customer needs, building rapport, handling objections, closing deals.
It's about becoming a master of persuasion, but in an ethical way.
Right. It's about creating win-win situations.
Where everyone benefits.
Now, building on that idea of connection, they also stress the importance of networking.
Networking is crucial for entrepreneurs. It's about building relationships with people who can help you grow.
So attending industry events, joining professional organizations.
Connecting with mentors, advisors, investors, potential partners.
Creating that supportive community.
And it's not just about what you can get.
Right.
It's also about what you can give.
So it's a two-way street. Now, they also talk about raising capital, which can be a really daunting task.
Especially for first-time entrepreneurs.
But they offer some really practical advice on crafting a business plan, creating a pitch deck, presenting to investors. So it's about convincing them that you're the right team to execute on your vision.
And also finding the right investors.
The ones who align with your value.
Yes, who believe in your vision.
And then there's managing risk, which is essential in any business.
Absolutely. Entrepreneurship is inherently risky.
So it's about having a plan B.
Assessing potential challenges.
Mitigating those risks.
Do your due diligence.
They also encourage entrepreneurs to embrace failure.
Right. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the process.
So it's about learning from those mistakes.
And using them to fuel your growth.
Developing resilience.
Yeah, bouncing back from adversity.
Now, they also talk about company culture.
Oh, yeah. Creating a positive and supportive work environment.
Establishing clear values.
Fostering open communication.
Recognizing achievements.
Leading by example.
So creating a culture where people feel valued and motivated.
Exactly. A culture that reflects your values.
And finally, they encourage entrepreneurs to think about legacy.
Yes. Building something that extends beyond your own lifetime.
So making a positive contribution to the world.
Using your talents to make a difference.
So it's about more than just building a successful business.
Right. It's about building something meaningful.
Creating something that benefits others.
Leaving a positive impact on the world.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground in this second part of our deep dive into Midas Touch, exploring those 8 integrities, the BI triangle, personal branding, financial intelligence, understanding personality types, lifelong learning sales, skills networking, raising capital, managing risk, embracing failure, company culture, and legacy.
We've been through a lot.
And as you process all these ideas, we want to revisit that key question. If you were to start a business today, what would be your little thing that counts? What unique gift or talent could you offer to the world? Keep that question in mind as we move on to the final part of our deep dive into Midas Touch, where we'll explore even more fascinating insights from this entrepreneurial masterpiece.
Okay, so we've been unpacking a lot from Midas Touch.
Yeah, a lot of great insights.
But I wanted to circle back to something you mentioned earlier.
Okay.
The idea of the 4 green hats.
Ah, yes, the 4 green hats.
What's that all about?
So imagine you have these 4 green hats, each representing a different approach to creating value in a business.
Okay, I like where this is going.
The first hat is the I hat for investor.
Okay.
These are the people who are really good at spotting opportunities, managing risk-generating returns on investments.
The money people.
Exactly. They have that knack for seeing the potential in an investment, whether it's real estate stocks or a new business venture.
Okay, makes sense. What about the B hat?
The B hat stands for business. These are the entrepreneurs, the builders, the visionaries.
They're the ones who can take an idea and turn it into a thriving company.
So you've got the investors and the business builders.
Right. Then we have the S hat for specialist.
Okay.
These are the people with specialized skills and expertise that they can use to create value.
So like doctors, lawyers, consultants, artists.
Exactly. They bring that specialized knowledge to the table.
Got it. And what about the last hat?
The last hat is the E hat for employee.
Now that seems a little counterintuitive.
Yeah, I know it might seem strange in a book about entrepreneurship,
Right.
but even the most successful entrepreneurs need a great team of employees to make things happen.
Oh, that makes sense.
The E hat represents those essential team members who are dedicated, hardworking, and get things done.
So the key takeaway here is that different hats have different strengths.
Absolutely. And while you might be drawn to 1 or 2 hats, the truly successful entrepreneurs learn to value all 4.
So it's not about being good at everything.
It's about surrounding yourself with people who are.
It's about building a diverse team with a mix of skills, recognizing that each hat brings something unique and valuable.
Right. And it's about being able to identify those strengths in others and leverage them.
Now, another thing that struck me from Midas Touch is the importance of developing a thick skin.
Oh, yeah. That's so important in business.
It's about not letting criticism or setbacks get you down.
You got to be able to handle rejection and keep moving forward.
And they even say that criticism can be a good sign.
Right. If you're not being criticized, you're probably not pushing the envelope enough.
So it's about being comfortable with taking risks.
And knowing that not everyone will understand or support your vision.
And they also talk about the importance of managing your emotions.
Especially under pressure.
Yeah, staying calm, focused, and positive.
They suggest developing strategies for dealing with stress.
So it's about mastering your mindset.
Exactly. not letting your emotions control your actions.
Now, one of the biggest things that I took away from Midas Touch
Yeah.
is the emphasis on generosity.
Ah, yes, this is so powerful.
It might seem counterintuitive in a book about building wealth,
Right. You wouldn't necessarily expect that.
but they argue that true success requires giving back.
Kiyosaki even says that the very rich are not greedy.
So it's not just about accumulating money.
It's about using your resources to make a positive impact.
They talk about creating jobs, supporting worthy causes, making a difference in the world.
It's about leaving the world a better place than you found it.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Midas Touch,
Yeah.
what stands out to you as the most important takeaway?
For me, it's the holistic approach to entrepreneurship that they present. It's not just about one thing.
Right.
It's about developing the right mindset, the skills, the attitude, the generosity.
It's a journey of growth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's about finding your own unique path.
That's so well said. And for our listeners out there,
Yeah.
we hope this deep dive into Midas Touch has sparked some new ideas and inspired you on your own entrepreneurial journeys. Remember, the Midas Touch isn't just about turning everything into gold.
It's about discovering your own unique talents and using them to create something valuable for yourself and for the world.
Beautifully said. So keep learning, keep growing, and keep reaching for those dreams. Until next time, keep diving deep.